The fluorescent lights above flicker faintly, humming like an impatient reminder of time slipping by. The checkout line stretches long, carts stacked with cereal boxes, laundry detergent, and fruit. At the very front, a young woman stands, clutching a tiny bundle wrapped in a faded pink blanket. The baby squirms, letting out small whimpers that grow sharper each second. Her hands tremble as she sets down a carton of milk, a pack of diapers, and a jar of baby food. Nothing else, only the barest of essentials. The cashier scans the items, her expression flat, routine. The total appears on the small glowing screen. The young mother's shoulders sink as she digs into her purse. Coins clink together. She pulls them out in handfuls, her fingers shaking, knuckles pale with effort. She counts once, twice, 3 times, lips moving silently as though whispering a prayer. The numbers do not add up. A soft beep sounds as she inserts her worn-out debit card. For a second, hope flickers in her eyes. Then the machine spits out a message in bold letters, declined. Her face burns hot. She glances back at the line where eyes now rest on her. Some are curious, others impatient, a few already annoyed. The cashier clears her throat. Do you have another form of payment? The question is polite but firm, rehearsed 1,000 times. The young woman shakes her head quickly, digging again through her bag, pulling out loose change, a receipt, a bus ticket, even a crumpled photograph. Nothing helps. The coins she lays on the counter barely cover half the price. Behind her, a man sighs loudly. Come on, some of us have places to be. He mutters, voice sharp enough to sting. Another person whispers, why bring a baby here if you can't afford milk? The words slice through the air, cruel but careless, spoken like the young woman isn't standing right there. Her baby cries louder now, the sound raw and demanding, as if sensing her despair. She rocks the child gently in her arms, trying to hush the sobs, her own lips trembling with the effort not to break. Her voice, when it finally comes, is soft and desperate. Please, I just need this for my child, just the milk, even, please. The cashier shifts uncomfortably, eyes darting toward the growing line, then back at the mother. The rules are clear. No payment, no groceries. Yet something about the mother's pleading eyes seems to freeze the moment. The silence stretches heavy, filled only by the baby's cries and the tapping of restless shoes behind her. The young woman lowers her head, hair falling across her face, hiding the tears she can no longer hold back. Her fingers clutch the blanket tighter, knuckles white, as though the strength she doesn't have must be borrowed from somewhere deep inside. The world around her feels hostile, every stare pressing against her skin, every murmur cutting deeper. The sound of the scanner beeps again in the background, another customer's groceries moving through on the next counter, life continuing as if her moment of collapse means nothing at all. The restless shuffling in the line grows louder, a chorus of irritation and whispers. The young mother stands frozen, her cheeks streaked with quiet tears, the baby pressed close to her chest. The cashier glances at the register again, unwilling to meet her eyes. The moment stretches uncomfortably long, the kind of silence that makes strangers stare harder just to fill the void. Then from the very back of the line, footsteps sound against the tiled floor. Slow, deliberate, each step carrying a weight that cuts through the noise of murmurs and complaints. The crowd parts slightly, heads turning. A tall man, broad, shouldered and sharply dressed in a dark navy suit, walks forward with the calm authority of someone used to moving through rooms where every eye follows him. He stops beside the mother, his presence commanding without words. The baby fusses, but the man's gaze rests firmly on the counter. He slips a sleek black card from his pocket and places it down in front of the cashier with a quiet, steady voice. Add everything to my bill. The reaction is instant. A woman in the line gasps, someone else mutters, who does that? The cashier blinks, caught off guard, her hand hovering over the register as though unsure if she even heard him correctly. The young mother stares at him. Why? Died, her lips parting in shock. No, I can't, she stammers, clutching her baby tighter. I can't let you. But the man simply turns his head toward her, his expression calm, almost unreadable. His voice lowers, gentle but firm. You don't need to let me. This isn't charity. it's humanity. The line behind them stirs with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Some people raise their phones, trying to discreetly capture the scene unfolding before them. Others cross their arms, muttering about time being wasted, yet unable to look away. The cashier finally clears her throat, her voice uncertain. "Sir, are you sure?" "Yes," he replies, not breaking eye contact with the mother. His tone leaves no room for hesitation. The young woman shakes her head again, her tears spilling faster now, caught between humiliation and gratitude. Her baby shifts in her arms, crying softer as if sensing the change in the atmosphere. She whispers, barely audible, "I don't even know your name." The man doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he gestures at the groceries, milk, diapers, baby food, so small in number, yet so heavy in meaning. Names don't matter right now. What matters is that this child doesn't leave hungry tonight. The cashier begins scanning the items again, her movements slower this time, the usual robotic rhythm replaced by a strange awareness of the gravity of the moment. Each beep seems louder, echoing across the store. The eyes of strangers follow the rhythm, their impatience fading into an odd silence, a silence that feels suspended in the air as though waiting for something none of them can quite name. The young mother lowers her head, unable to find words, her fingers tightening around her baby's blanket. The man stands tall beside her, his gaze fixed forward, unshaken by the stares, unmoved by the whispers. Around them, the noise of the store fades into a muted hum, the world narrowing to the counter, the groceries, and the fragile heartbeat of a moment that refuses to break. The black card rests on the counter, gleaming under the harsh fluorescent light. The cashier hesitates before sliding it through, her eyes flicking nervously between the man in the suit and the young woman clutching her baby. The crowd leans in closer, the air thick with curiosity, the tension wound tight enough to snap. A whisper rises from somewhere in the line. "Who is that guy?" Another voice answers in a low murmur. "Looks like he's showing off." Someone else snorts, probably just wants attention. The comments ripple through the shoppers, soft but sharp, their words carrying a note of doubt that cuts into the unusual stillness. The young mother stares at the man beside her, her face caught between relief and confusion. His sharp jawline, his tailored jacket, the watch that glints faintly under the light. Nothing about him fits the world she knows. Why here, why her? She shifts uneasily, tightening her grip on the baby, as if shielding the child from a kindness that feels too strange to trust. The cashier finally speaks, her tone cautious. "Sir, this is unusual. Are you certain you want to cover everything?" "Yes." He replies without hesitation. His voice is calm, steady, but his eyes flicker briefly, as though a shadow passes across them. From the back of the store, a teenage employee squints, recognition dawning. He leans toward his coworker and whispers urgently, "That's him. That's the CEO of Brookstone Enterprises." His words spread like sparks through dry grass. Heads turn, necks crane, and suddenly the murmurs are louder. "The CEO," someone repeats, disbelief thick in their tone. "What's a man like that doing here?" Phones lift higher, small screens glowing as people record the scene. Some smile knowingly, certain it must be a stunt for publicity. Others frown, suspicion knitting their brows. A few shake their heads, muttering under their breath that rich men don't just appear at supermarkets to rescue strangers. The mother lowers her eyes, shame prickling her skin under the weight of so many stares. She whispers, "Why me?" The man doesn't respond immediately, his expression unreadable, his gaze fixed on the glowing numbers on the register screen. For a moment it feels like the store itself holds its breath. The steady hum of freezers, the soft clatter of carts, the impatient shifting of feet, all blur into the background. All that remains is the question unspoken in every eye watching. What does he really want? The young woman studies him, her heart pounding faster. His suit speaks of power, his composure of wealth, his presence of authority. And yet, there's something in his eyes that unsettles her, something heavy, something that doesn't match the polished exterior. The cashier finishes scanning, her hand trembling slightly as she prepares the receipt. The silence around the counter thickens, alive with speculation. The crowd edges closer, their suspicion growing with each passing second, every glance questioning the motive behind an act that seems too perfect, too polished, too calculated to be only about kindness. The receipt prints slowly, each click of the machine loud in the quiet that has swallowed the store. The cashier's hands shake as she tears the slip, offering it to the suited man, but he doesn't take it. Instead, his gaze drifts downward, lingering on the young mother's trembling fingers and the restless baby shifting in her arms. His jaw tightens, a flicker of something personal crossing his face, something raw that doesn't belong to the polished mask of a millionaire. The mother finally dares to ask, her voice cracking with disbelief, "Why are you doing this? People like you don't stop for people like me." Her words hang heavy in the air, fragile yet sharp, echoing the doubt already whispered by the crowd. For a moment he says nothing. His eyes are distant, as though replaying a memory he can't escape. When he finally speaks, his voice is steady, but beneath the surface, it carries the weight of something lived. "Years ago," he begins, each word deliberate, "I stood where you stand now, not in a suit, not with money, just a boy with his mother, watching her card decline while strangers stared." The crowd shifts uneasily, phones lower a little, the whispers soften. His tone is not polished anymore, it's unguarded, carrying the rough edge of truth. "My mother's face was red," he continues, his eyes not leaving the young woman. "She counted coins until her hands shook, and when she realized she didn't have enough, she tried to put back the milk. I'll never forget her hands shaking over that carton. I'll never forget the way people looked at us." He exhales, the memory carving itself into the silence. The young mother blinks rapidly, tears brimming again, but this time from recognition. She clutches her baby closer, sensing a thread connecting her pain to his. He pauses, and for the first time, the mask of wealth cracks. That night a stranger stepped forward, paid for everything, didn't say much, didn't ask for anything, just gave, and in that moment I learned that one act of kindness can outlive a lifetime of hunger. The store remains hushed, the crowd caught in the gravity of his confession. Even those who had muttered doubts now watch with a mixture of surprise and unease, as though seeing a man they thought they knew but never really did. The young woman's lips part, but no words come. Her tears spill quietly down her cheeks, the baby's small fists pressing into her chest. The suited man's eyes flicker to the child, lingering with a kind of softness that doesn't match the image of a powerful CEO. It's the softness of someone who remembers being small, helpless, desperate. He finally lowers his gaze to the groceries bagged neatly on the counter. Milk, diapers, baby food, essentials, nothing more. His voice softens further, nearly a whisper, but everyone hears it. "Tonight, you don't walk home empty-handed. Tonight, your child will eat." The weight of his words lingers, pressing into the silence, settling heavily across every witness who can feel the truth stitched into the man's voice, the kind of truth that refuses to be ignored, the kind that changes how you look at a stranger standing beside you. The bag of groceries sits between them, simple items that suddenly feel heavier than gold. The young mother wipes at her cheeks with the back of her sleeve, but the tears keep coming, spilling faster now, no longer hidden, no longer something she can hold back. She whispers thank you once, then again, her voice cracking, almost lost beneath the baby's soft fussing. The man doesn't move away. Instead, he reaches into the inside pocket of his suit and produces a small, elegant card embossed, gleaming under the lights. He holds it out carefully, not forcing it into her hand, simply offering, "Come to my office tomorrow," he says, his tone calm but carrying something unmistakable beneath it, a note of command mixed with sincerity. She stares at the card as if it were a foreign object, hesitant to touch it. "Your office," she echoes, her voice disbelieving. "Yes." His gaze holds steady. I don't just want to buy your groceries. I want to give you a chance." Her arms tighten protectively around the baby, eyes darting between him, the card, and the curious crowd circling them. Suspicion flickers briefly in her expression, the natural instinct of someone used to promises that break too easily. "Why me?" she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. He doesn't answer right away. He studies her, as though measuring the strength beneath the exhaustion, the quiet resilience behind her desperation. Finally, his words come low and deliberate. "Because I see someone who hasn't given up. You're still standing here. You're still fighting for your child. That kind of strength is exactly what I look for." The crowd reacts with a ripple of astonishment. A man in line mutters under his breath, "Is he serious?" A woman clutches her chest, shaking her head slowly in disbelief. Phones tilt higher, recording every second, capturing the moment that feels larger than the walls of the supermarket. The mother shakes her head quickly, overwhelmed. I don't know anything about your world. I don't belong. Neither did I once." He interrupts softly, his voice steady but shadowed by memory. "I started lower than you. Don't tell me where you belong. You don't even know yet." The baby lets out a sharp cry, as if punctuating his words. The mother rocks the child gently, tears sliding silently down her face as her eyes drop to the business card still suspended in his hand. Her fingers twitch, uncertain, trembling with the weight of a choice that feels too enormous to make here, in this crowded aisle with strangers staring. The suited man doesn't push, doesn't urge her. He simply holds the card steady, waiting. Around them, the air feels charged, every eye fixed on her hand, every breath caught in the moment between refusal and acceptance. The cashier shifts uneasily behind the counter, the receipt still resting on the register, forgotten in the gravity of something unfolding that doesn't feel like it belongs in a supermarket at all. The young mother stares at the card, her hand trembling as if it carries the weight of 1,000 unseen choices. Slowly, hesitantly, she reaches out and takes it. The embossed letters glint under the harsh supermarket lights, an invitation not just to an office, but to a life she never imagined could be hers. The crowd exhales all at once, a collective release of breath none of them realized they were holding. Some lower their phones, suddenly aware that what they are capturing is not just a scene, but a transformation. Others exchange glances, their faces reflecting the same mix of awe and discomfort, as though they are witnesses to something too intimate to belong in public. The man steps back slightly, his presence still commanding, but his voice softens. "Keep that card. Tomorrow can be the first step towards something new." His gaze lingers on her baby, a flicker of warmth in eyes usually hardened by boardrooms and contracts. "You owe me nothing but one promise. When it's your turn, you pass it on." The mother nods, tears streaming freely now. She presses the card to her chest, then looks down at her child, whispering as though the baby can understand, "Did you hear that? We're going to be okay." Her voice shakes, but beneath the tremor is a fragile, rising strength. The suited man turns, his footsteps echoing down the aisle. The crowd parts for him again, this time in silence, not with skepticism, but with reverence. A hush follows him all the way to the doors, until the automatic glass panels slide open and the night swallows him back into the city. For a moment the supermarket feels utterly changed. The fluorescent lights seem less harsh, the murmurs less cruel. People glance at the young woman differently now, no longer with pity or judgment, but with a respect they can't quite explain. Some even smile faintly, as if touched by the echo of what they just witnessed. She gathers the grocery bags, balancing them carefully while adjusting her baby in her arms. The child, quiet now, gazes up at her with wide, innocent eyes, as though sensing the shift in their world. She kisses the baby's forehead, whispering softly, "We're not invisible anymore." As she walks toward the exit, she feels the card pressed against her palm, a small rectangle of possibility burning with promise. For the first time in months, maybe years, her steps feel lighter. The weight of shame begins to loosen its grip, replaced by something unfamiliar, hope. Outside, the cool night air wraps around her. She looks up at the sky, the city lights blurring against the darkness. She doesn't know what tomorrow will bring. She doesn't know if she belongs in the office of a man like him. But she knows this tonight. She will feed her child. Tonight, she carries more than groceries. She carries the spark of a future, and in the echo of the supermarket whispers, in the quiet awe of those who saw it unfold, one truth settles like a seed in every heart, that even the smallest act of kindness can ripple outward, rewriting not just one life, but countless others.